My parents didn't leave my graduation dinner early. They abandoned me mid-toast. Dad's chair scraped back at 7:14 p.m., MIT Faculty Club, private dining room, 12 guests still eating. Mom stood without a word. Your sister closed her first acquisition today. She's the real success. $23 sat on the table for my entree. They walked out during my advisor's speech. 40 minutes later, I stood at the head of that table, two empty chairs under crystal chandeliers, their napkins still folded, plates half full. Around me, 11 witnesses sat frozen. My professor's wife was filming the toasts. She posted it that night, the empty chairs, that quote, 890,000 views by morning. Every Stanford alumnus Dad networked with saw it. Mom's entire firm. Then the calls started from everyone who'd been told I was difficult. The acceptance email arrived at 6:47 a.m. on a Tuesday morning in April. I was in my childhood bedroom, having driven home the night before to tell them in person. The subject line read, "Congratulations from MIT admissions." My hands shook as I opened it, full scholarship, 4 years, $73,000 per year. I'd done it. I ran downstairs in my pajamas, phone clutched against my chest. Mom was making coffee. Dad sat at the kitchen table with his newspaper, the same spot he'd occupied every morning of my life. I got in, I said, MIT, full ride. Mom turned from the coffee maker. Her smile was thin. That's nice, honey. That's nice. Dad folded his newspaper with deliberate precision. Well, that's good news. He checked his watch. Your mother and I have that meeting at 9. 45 seconds. That's how long the conversation lasted. 45 seconds for the achievement I'd spent 4 years building toward. I stood there in the kitchen doorway, acceptance email still glowing on my phone screen, and waited for more. For pride. For celebration. For the reaction I'd imagined 1,000 times. Dad picked up his coffee. You'll still need to work, you know. Scholarships don't cover everything. I know, I said quietly. Mom patted my shoulder as she walked past. We're proud of you, Elliot, you know that. But I didn't know that, not really. My phone buzzed, a text in the family group chat, from Vanessa, my older sister. Big news, just closed my first solo acquisition, celebrating tonight. I watched the messages flood in. Dad, that's my girl, knew you had it in you. Mom, so proud, dinner at Soralina to celebrate, 7 p.m. Aunt Susan, amazing Vanessa, you're a star. I scrolled through 23 responses. Champagne emojis, heart emojis, exclamation points like confetti. I looked at my own announcement, sent 3 minutes earlier. Got into MIT with full scholarship. 3 responses, all within the first minute, nothing since. I walked back upstairs. The house felt smaller than it had an hour ago. I sat on my bed and stared at the acceptance letter, trying to feel the joy I'd expected, trying to remember why I'd wanted this so badly. Because they'd promised, that's why. I was 10 years old, sitting at this same kitchen table, struggling with long division. Dad had pulled up a chair beside me. You're smart, Elliot, smarter than you know. You keep working hard and one day you'll do something incredible. And when you do, we'll be there, every step of the way. Mom had been washing dishes. She turned around, dish towel in hand, and smiled at me. We'll celebrate every achievement, sweetheart, every single one. I'd believed them. At 17, I'd believed them when they missed my National Merit Scholar ceremony because Vanessa needed help moving apartments. At 19, I'd believed them when they couldn't attend my Dean's List reception because Vanessa's boyfriend was visiting. At 21, I'd believed them when they forgot my birthday entirely, but threw Vanessa a surprise party 2 weeks later. I'd believed them because the alternative was unbearable. Now, sitting in my childhood bedroom with an MIT acceptance letter on my phone, I felt something shift. Not breaking, just loosening, like a knot I'd tied too tight finally starting to give. My phone buzzed again, the family group chat. Mom had posted a photo of Vanessa at a restaurant, champagne glass raised, parents on either side of her, all 3 of them grinning. The caption, celebrating our successful daughter. Our successful daughter. Singular. I turned off my phone, lay back on my bed. stared at the ceiling I'd stared at for 23 years. And for the first time, I let myself think the thought I'd been avoiding. Maybe I wasn't the problem. Maybe they were. The realization didn't feel like freedom. It felt like falling. Our family was small, just 4 of us. Robert and Diana Chen, 2 daughters, Vanessa 30, me 23. 7 years between us. 7 years that might as well have been 7 decades. Vanessa was the golden child before I was old enough to understand what that meant. Beautiful, ch. Charismatic, the kind of person who walked into rooms and made them brighter. Everyone loved her, especially our parents. I was the backup plan, the unexpected pregnancy, the daughter they hadn't quite prepared for. They never said it out loud, they didn't have to. I was 8 when Vanessa graduated high school. The party filled our entire backyard. White tent, catered food, 100 guests. I remembered watching Dad give a toast, his voice cracking with pride. My brilliant daughter, he'd called her. Mom had cried happy tears. 6 years later, I graduated high school with a 4.2 GPA and a National Merit Scholarship. We went to dinner at Olive Garden, just the 4 of us. Dad gave me a card with $50 inside. For college expenses, he'd said, you'll need it. Vanessa's graduation party had cost $8,000. I'd seen the invoice on Dad's desk. My $50 Olive Garden card was still in my desk drawer. I'd never spent it. The pattern continued through college. I made Dean's List every semester. 3.9 GPA. Computer science major at MIT, one of the toughest programs in the country. I tutored underclassmen for $25 an hour, worked at the library on weekends, spent summers doing unpaid internships because paid ones wouldn't count toward my scholarship requirements. I ate ramen 4 nights a week to save money. Studied in the library until closing because my dorm room was too cold and I couldn't afford to run the space heater. Wore the same 3 pairs of jeans for 4 years. Vanessa posted photos on Instagram from Paris, from Napa Valley, from her new condo's balcony overlooking Boston Harbor. I never asked how she afforded it. Real estate paid well, but not that well, not fresh out of college. By my senior year, I'd taken out $34,000 in student loans. Not for tuition, the scholarship covered that, for everything else. Books, food, the deposit on my tiny apartment, the laptop that died sophomore year, the winter coat I'd needed when mine ripped. I'd asked my parents for help, once. It was winter break, junior year. I'd come home for Christmas. The laptop situation was desperate. I couldn't complete assignments without one, and the library computers were booked solid during finals season. I need $1,200, ID said at dinner. For a laptop, mine died, I can pay you back by summer. Dad had set down his fork. Elliot, we're not made of money. I know, that's why I'm asking for a loan, not a gift. I'll pay interest if you want. Mom had sighed. Honey, we have expenses, the house, your father's business. We can't just hand out money whenever someone asks. Someone, as if I was a stranger. Vanessa just posted photos from Cabo, ID said quietly. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Vanessa works hard for her money, Dad had said. Maybe if you managed your finances better, you wouldn't be in this position. I'd bought the laptop on a credit card with 22% interest, paid it off over 18 months. I never asked them for money again. Now, spring of senior year, graduation was 6 weeks away. I'd reserved the private dining room at MIT Faculty Club, sent invitations to my parents, to Vanessa, to extended family. 12 people total. My advisor was giving a toast. My roommate's parents were coming, 2 professors I'd worked closely with. I'd saved $1,200 over 4 months to pay for the dinner. Every dollar from tutoring that didn't go to rent or food went into the graduation fund. The RSVPs came back, everyone confirmed, including my parents. Wouldn't miss it, Mom had texted. So proud of you, sweetheart. I'd read that text 50 times, looking for the lie. I couldn't find it. Maybe I'd been wrong. Maybe this time would be different. Maybe they'd finally see me. The morning of my graduation dinner, I woke up at 6 a.m. with my stomach in knots. Hope and dread tangled together until I couldn't tell them apart. I'd bought a navy blue dress 3 weeks earlier. Spent $200 I didn't have because I wanted to look like I'd made it. Like the past 4 years of struggling had been worth it. I hung it on my closet door and stared at it while I drank coffee. My phone buzzed. Mom. Running a bit late, see you there, read. Relief flooded through me. They were coming, they were really coming. I did my makeup carefully, curled my hair, put on the dress. It fit perfectly. I looked at myself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. 4 years ago, I'd been a scared kid with a full scholarship and no idea what I was doing. Now I was an MIT graduate, software engineer, survivor. I arrived at MIT Faculty Club at 6:30. The private dining room was perfect. Warm lighting, white tablecloths, 12 place settings. I'd put name cards at each seat. Mom and Dad were at the head of the table, right next to mine. My advisor, Professor Kim, arrived first, then my roommate Maya and her parents, my two favorite professors, Maya's boyfriend, other friends from my program. By 7 p.m., 10 people sat at the table. 2 seats remained empty. Mom and Dad. They're just running late, I told Maya. They texted. Of course, Maya said. Her smile was kind, pitying. 7:15, the waiter asked if we should start. I said no, 5 more minutes. 7:20, Professor Kim began his toast anyway. He talked about my thesis, about my work ethic, about how I'd overcome obstacles most students never faced. I barely heard him. I was watching the door. 7:14, that's when I heard it. Chairs scraping, not someone arriving, someone leaving. I turned my head. Mom and Dad stood up from their seats. They'd been there the whole time, sitting silently while Professor Kim spoke, and now they were leaving. Dad dropped something on the table. Cash. I saw the bills from across the room. Mom wouldn't meet my eyes. Wait, I said. My voice sounded far away. Where are you going? Dad picked up his coat. Your sister closed her first acquisition today. His voice was flat, matter of fact, like he was commenting on the weather. She's the real success. We need to celebrate with her. The real success. The room went silent. Professor Kim stopped mid-sentence. Maya's hand found mine under the table. It's my graduation dinner, I said. The words came out small, childlike. Mom finally looked at me. We'll celebrate with you another time, Elliot. They walked out. Dad's shoes clicked against the floor. Mom's perfume lingered in the air. The door closed behind them with a soft click. I sat there, 11 people staring at me, crystal chandeliers overhead, 2 empty chairs with folded napkins, 2 half-full water glasses. $23 sat where Dad had been sitting. I could see it from my seat. A 20 and 3 ones. My entree cost $35. He hadn't even left enough. Maya's arm went around my shoulders. Someone, Professor Kim, maybe, said something about how proud they were of me, how my parents didn't deserve me. I couldn't hear them. There was a ringing in my ears, a hollowness in my chest. I'd spent $1,200 on this dinner, 4 months of saving, and they'd walked out during the toast. 40 minutes later, I excused myself to the bathroom, locked the door, sat on the closed toilet lid and stared at my phone. That's when I saw it. A notification, Venmo public transaction. Robert Chen paid $890 to Vanessa's victory dinner. $890 for her, $23 for me. I clicked on the transaction, saw the comments below it. Aunt Susan, so proud of Vanessa, Dad's business partner, congrats to the star. I scrolled up, looked at the date of the payment. 7:18 p.m. 4 minutes after they'd walked out of my dinner. They hadn't been running late, they'd been planning this. My hands started shaking. The phone screen blurred, something inside me cracked open. Not grief, not anger, something colder. Clarity. I stood up, washed my hands, fixed my lipstick, walked back to the table. Maya looked at me. Are you okay? I picked up my water glass, took a sip. I will be. But I wasn't thinking about being okay. I was thinking about that Venmo transaction, about the public record of their choice, about the 11 witnesses at this table who'd watched them leave, about what happened when people finally saw what I'd been seeing for 23 years. I couldn't sleep that night. I lay in my apartment, still wearing the navy dress, and stared at my phone. The Venmo transaction glowed in the darkness. $890. Vanessa's victory dinner. Posted at 7:18 p.m., 4 minutes after they walked out. I kept refreshing the screen, watching the likes pile up, the comments multiply. So proud of Vanessa. What an achievement. Best daughter ever. My thumb hovered over the comment button. I wanted to write something, anything, to tell them what they'd just witnessed, what my parents had just done. But I didn't. Instead, I scrolled backward, through Dad's public transaction history. The Venmo feed went back months. I'd never looked at it before, never had a reason to. Now I did. March, $600 to Vanessa. Caption, new furniture for my successful girl. February, $450. Vanessa's car insurance. Love you. January, $300. Just because you deserve it. December, $1,000. Merry Christmas to our star. I scrolled faster. November, October, September. Every month, sometimes twice a month. Payments to Vanessa, always with captions dripping with pride, with love, with celebration. I searched for my name. Nothing. Not one payment, not one public declaration of support. The screen blurred, I blinked hard, forced my eyes to focus. I clicked on Vanessa's profile. Her Venmo history was public too. I could see every payment she received. Dad wasn't the only one sending money. Mom's account appeared over and over. Smaller amounts, but constant. $50 here, $100 there. Coffee money, sweetheart. Gas money, love. Treat yourself, baby girl. I did the math in my head. Rough estimates, conservative. Over $1,500 in the past 3 months alone. To Vanessa. I thought about my own bank account. The overdraft fee I'd paid last month because I'd miscalculated by $12. The credit card balance that never seemed to shrink. The ramen, the library, the space heater I couldn't afford to run. My parents had money, they'd always said they didn't. We're not made of money, Elliot. We have expenses. Manage your finances better. But they had money for Vanessa. I sat up, the dress wrinkled beneath me. My phone felt hot in my hand. There was something else, something deeper than Venmo payments. I'd had a joint savings account with my parents since I was 16. They de-opened it for me. For college, they'd said, we'll help you save. I'd deposited money from every birthday, every holiday, every part-time job in high school. By the time I graduated, there was $4,200 in that account. I'd checked it sophomore year of college, when the laptop died, when I'd needed that $1,200. The balance had been $800. I'd assumed I'd spent it on books, on food, on surviving. But now, staring at these Venmo payments, a different thought crept in. What if I hadn't spent it? My laptop sat on my desk across the room. I stood up, walked over, opened it. My hands shook as I logged into the bank website. The joint savings account was still active, still linked to my profile. I hadn't looked at it in over a year. I clicked on the transaction history. The page loaded. My stomach dropped. 2:47 a.m. That's what the clock said when I finally opened the full transaction history. I'd been staring at the login screen for 20 minutes. Part of me didn't want to know, didn't want to see whatever truth was hiding in those statements. But I clicked anyway. The screen filled with lines of data, transactions, dates, amounts. I started with the most recent month and worked backward. May, transfer to Vanessa Chen, $500. April, transfer to Vanessa Chen, $800. March, transfer to Vanessa Chen, $1,000. My vision tunneled, the room tilted. This was my account, my savings account, the one with my name on it. And my parents were transferring money out of it to Vanessa. I scrolled faster, February, January, December. Every month, sometimes twice a month. The amounts varied, $300, $600, $1,000, $1,500. But they were always there. I reached the beginning, 3 years ago, right after I'd started at MIT. The first transfer, $2,000 to Vanessa Chen. Memo, down payment help. I downloaded the statements, all of them, 18 months of data saved to my desktop in a PDF. Then I opened my calculator. I added every transfer, every unauthorized withdrawal, every dollar that should have been mine. The number grew and grew and grew. $127,400. I stared at the screen. $127,000. From my account to Vanessa. Over 3 years. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. I stood up, sat down, stood up again. The bathroom, I needed the bathroom. I barely made it before I threw up. Everything from the graduation dinner, the $35 entree I'd saved 4 months to afford, gone. I knelt on the cold tile and pressed my forehead against the toilet seat. This couldn't be real. I went back to the laptop, checked the account details again. Maybe I'd read it wrong. Maybe this was a different account. Maybe. No. My name was on the account. Elliot Chen, joint account holder with Robert Chen and Diana Chen. Joint meant they had access. Joint meant they could move money. But this was my money, my birthday money, my graduation gifts from relatives, my summer job savings. And they'd given it to Vanessa. I opened a new tab, searched my email for bank statements. I'd ignored them for years. They came monthly. I never opened them. I figured if something was wrong, the bank would call. Now I opened every single one. The pattern was clear, crystal clear. Large deposit from me, usually right after a birthday or holiday, followed within days by a transfer out to Vanessa. I'd deposited $2,000 from grandma's inheritance when I was 19. It was gone within a week. Memo, V's car payment. I'd deposited $1,500 from my summer job before sophomore year, gone in 3 days. Memo, V's security deposit. Every dollar I'd saved, every gift I'd received, funneled directly to my sister. And the largest transfers, those had memos too. V's down payment, $80,000. V's car loan payoff, $22,000. V's wedding fund, $25,400. Vanessa wasn't even engaged, but there was a wedding fund with my money. I thought about the credit card, the one I'd maxed out buying a laptop, 22% interest, 18 months of payments. I thought about the ramen, the library, the winter coat held together with safety pins. I thought about the $50 Olive Garden gift card for college expenses, while they were transferring $127,000 of my money to Vanessa. My phone buzzed, a text from Maya. "You okay? Call me if you need anything." I didn't respond. I couldn't speak, couldn't think, couldn't process. All I could do was stare at that number. $127,400. Stolen. The word felt too big, too serious, too criminal. But what else could I call it? I opened a new document, started listing every transfer, every date, every amount, every memo. By 4 a.m., I had a spreadsheet, 17 pages long, color-coded, organized by year. The evidence was undeniable. My parents had stolen from me, for 3 years, to give everything to Vanessa. And I'd never known. I didn't sleep. By the time the sun came up, I'd mapped 3 years of my life against those bank transfers. Every payment out matched a moment I remembered. A moment that suddenly made sense. Sophomore year, October. I'd called home crying. My roommate had graduated early. I needed to cover her half of the rent until the housing office found a replacement. $1,100 I didn't have. "We can't help you," Dad had said. "Money's tight right now." I'd checked the bank statement from that week. $2,000 transferred to Vanessa. Memo, furniture shopping trip. I'd worked double shifts at the library for 6 weeks to cover that rent, while Vanessa bought a new couch. Junior year, March, spring break. Everyone in my program went home or traveled. I'd stayed in my apartment. Ate granola bars for a week. Told myself it was fine. Told myself I needed to study anyway. Maya had invited me to her family's cabin. I'd said no, couldn't afford the gas money. I pulled up the bank statement. $1,500 to Vanessa, posted on the first day of spring break. Memo, Napa Valley trip, love you. I'd eaten granola bars while Vanessa drank wine in Napa. Senior year, December. My laptop died for the second time. I'd asked for help, $1,200. I'll pay you back by summer. We're not made of money, Elliot. The bank statement from that week showed 3 payments. $1,000 to Vanessa, Christmas shopping. $800 to Vanessa, holiday bonus. $600 to Vanessa, just because. $2,400 in 1 week to Vanessa. While I maxed out a credit card at 22% interest. I leaned back in my chair. The apartment was silent except for my breathing. 3 years. For 3 years, every time I'd struggled, every time I'd gone without, every time I'd been told they couldn't help, they'd been helping Vanessa. Every single time. I thought about the graduation dinner, the empty chairs. She's the real success. They weren't just neglecting me, they were actively choosing her, over and over, with my own money. The anger hit like a wave. Hot, consuming. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to call them and demand answers. But I didn't. Because there was more, I could feel it. I opened my email, searched for messages from my parents, started reading backward. Junior year, November. I'd won a departmental award, $500 and a plaque. I'd sent them a photo. Mom's response: "That's nice, honey. Your father and I are helping Vanessa with a down payment. Big milestone." The award was for academic excellence, top 5% of my class. That's nice, honey. Sophomore year, May, I'd made Dean's List for the 4th consecutive semester. 3.9 GPA, I'd called to tell them. Good for you, Dad had said. Listen, we're at Vanessa's housewarming. Can we call you back? They never called back. I pulled up Vanessa's Instagram, scrolled back to that May. Photos of her new condo, exposed brick, harbor view, open kitchen, comments from our parents on every post. So proud of our girl. You've earned this. Beautiful home for a beautiful daughter. The down payment on that condo was $80,000. I'd seen it in the bank transfer. $80,000 from my account. I did the math. If I'd had that money, I could have graduated debt-free, could have lived off campus in a real apartment, could have eaten real food, could have bought a reliable laptop, could have gone home for spring break, could have felt like I mattered. But instead, I'd struggled, I'd survived on nothing, I'd worked myself into exhaustion. While they told me they were proud of Vanessa, while they paid for her life with my money, while they walked out of my graduation dinner to celebrate her. I looked at the spreadsheet again. $127,400. Not just money, 3 years of my life. 3 years of sacrifices I didn't need to make. 3 years of being told I wasn't enough while they built Vanessa's perfect life with my inheritance. The sun was fully up now. My phone showed missed calls from Maya, from Professor Kim, from numbers I didn't recognize. I ignored them all. There was only one call I needed to make. I opened my contacts, scrolled to Maya's name, pressed dial. She answered on the first ring. Elliot, are you okay? No, I said, my voice sounded hollow, distant. I need help, I need a lawyer. Maya arrived 20 minutes after I called. She found me on the floor of my apartment, laptop open, surrounded by printed bank statements. 17 pages of evidence spread across the carpet like accusatory confetti. Elliot, she knelt beside me. What happened? I handed her the spreadsheet. Read this. Her eyes scanned the document. I watched her face change. Confusion first, then shock, then anger. $127,000, her voice rose. From your account. My account, I confirmed. My money, my birthday gifts, my inheritance from Grandma, everything. To Vanessa. To Vanessa. Maya sat back on her heels. Elliot, this is theft. It's a joint account, I said automatically. They have legal access. Legal access doesn't mean moral right. She picked up one of the statements. This transfer is from your 19th birthday, $2,000 from your grandmother, gone in a week to pay for Vanessa's car. I nodded. Did you authorize this? I didn't even know about it. Maya stood up, started pacing. Okay, this is serious. You need to report this. To who? The bank? They'll say it's a joint account, that my parents had permission. To a lawyer. Maya stopped pacing, looked at me directly. My cousin, Rachel, she handles family law cases, financial abuse, estate disputes. She's seen cases like this before. Cases like this? The words felt foreign. Clinical. You mean other people's parents steal from them? More often than you'd think. Maya pulled out her phone. I'm texting her now. She'll want to see you as soon as possible. I stared at the evidence scattered around me. They left my graduation dinner to celebrate Vanessa with my money. I know. They've been doing this for 3 years. I know. And I had no idea. My voice broke. How did I not know? Maya sat back down beside me, put her arm around my shoulders. Because you trusted them, because they're your parents, because you're not supposed to have to audit your own family. What if this is normal? What if I'm overreacting? Elliot, Maya turned my face toward hers. Listen to me. This is not normal. Parents don't steal from their children. They don't take inheritance money meant for you and give it to your sibling. They don't walk out of your graduation dinner after spending your money on someone else. None of this is normal. The tears came then, hot and fast and unstoppable. I worked 3 jobs, I sobbed. I ate ramen for 4 years. I couldn't afford to go home for spring break, and they had my money the whole time. They had it and they gave it to her. I know, honey, I know. She got everything. The condo, the car, the vacations, the wedding fund, all of it came from me. Maya held me while I cried. While 3 years of confusion and hurt and not quite understanding finally crystallized into clarity. When I could breathe again, she pulled back. Rachel can see you on Monday, downtown Boston, her office. What do I bring? Everything you have. Statements, transfers, emails, that spreadsheet, all of it. I looked at the papers spread around us. What if she says there's nothing I can do? Then we find another lawyer, and another, until someone helps you. Maya's jaw set, but I don't think that's going to happen. What they did, that's not just wrong, it's actionable. My phone buzzed, a text from Mom. Hope you're feeling better after last night. Let's reschedule dinner soon. Love you. I showed Maya the screen. She read it, shook her head. Unbelievable. They don't even know I know. Good, Maya said. Keep it that way. Don't tell them anything until you've talked to Rachel. Don't give them warning. I saved Mom's text to a folder. Evidence. Thank you, I whispered, for believing me. Always, Maya said. Now let's organize this evidence. Rachel's going to need it all. Rachel Morrison's office was on the 14th floor of a glass building in downtown Boston. Floor-to-ceiling windows, mahogany desk, degrees from Harvard Law on the wall. I felt small sitting across from her. Maya sat beside me. Rachel, mid-30s with sharp eyes and a kind smile, reviewed my spreadsheet in silence. 3 minutes passed, then 5. Finally, she looked up. This is financial abuse, she said. Not a question, a statement. But it's a joint account, I said. They have legal access. Legal access obtained when? You were a minor. Rachel flipped through the bank documents. You opened this account at 16, under their guidance, with the explicit purpose of saving for your education. Correct. Yes. And were you aware they were making these transfers? No, I never checked the statements. I trusted them. Rachel made a note. That's called breach of fiduciary duty. Your parents, as joint account holders, had a legal obligation to act in your best interest. They didn't. They acted in Vanessa's interest, using your funds. The legal terminology made it real, official. What are my options? I asked. Rachel leaned back in her chair. Several. First, criminal charges. What they did could constitute larceny or embezzlement, depending on how the DA wants to pursue it. Second, civil lawsuit for damages. You sue for the full amount plus emotional distress. Third, a demand letter. We contact them officially, outline the theft, demand restitution. Which one works? Depends on your goal. Criminal charges mean police involvement, investigations, possible prosecution. It's public, it's messy, but it sends a message. I thought about Dad's business, Mom's social circles, how public. Very. If charges are filed, it becomes public record. Anyone can access it. Good. Rachel's eyebrow raised slightly. You want them exposed. They walked out of my graduation dinner, in front of 11 witnesses. They chose her, publicly. I want everyone to know why. Maya squeezed my hand. Rachel nodded slowly. Civil lawsuit is less public but more likely to succeed. The burden of proof is lower. We show the transfers. We show the lack of authorization. We show damages. We win a judgment. they pay you back. How long does that take? 8 to 12 months. Could be faster with a settlement. Most cases like this settle once the defendant realizes we have documentation. And if they refuse to settle, we go to trial, you testify, I bring in expert witnesses, we present your evidence, a jury decides. The thought of facing them in court made my stomach twist, but the thought of letting this go made it twist worse. What does this cost? I asked. My retainer is $3,500. After that, hourly billing. If we win, we can petition the court to make them pay your legal fees. $3,500, 2 months of tutoring income. I'll pay it, Maya said suddenly. Maya, you can pay me back when you win, she looked at Rachel. She'll win, right? Rachel smiled. Based on this evidence, yes, I think we have a very strong case. I looked at the spreadsheet on Rachel's desk. 3 years of theft documented in color-coded rows. I want to file, I said, civil suit, and I want to send a demand letter first. Give them a chance to make this right. And if they ignore it, then we go public, we file the lawsuit, we make sure everyone knows exactly what they did. Rachel pulled out a legal pad, started writing. I'll draft the demand letter today, $50,000 in restitution, full accounting of all transfers, written apology. They'll never agree to that. Probably not, Rachel admitted, but it establishes that we tried. When we go to court, we can show we offered a reasonable settlement. It makes us look good, them look worse. When can you send it? By end of week. I took a breath, let it out slowly. Do it. Rachel extended her hand. Welcome to the fight, Elliot. Let's get your money back. The demand letter went out on Friday. I spent the weekend imagining their reactions. Dad opening the envelope at breakfast, Mom reading the legal letterhead, the moment they realized I knew. By Monday, I still hadn't heard from them. Rachel said that was normal. They're talking to their own lawyer, trying to figure out how to respond. Give it time. So I used the time to build my case. I started with emails. Every message I'd ever sent them, every request for help, every achievement announcement that went ignored. Sophomore year, got Dean's List again, 4th semester in a row. Mom's response, nice job, honey. 3 days later, an email to Vanessa, so proud of you for that promotion. Let's celebrate this weekend. I saved both emails to a folder labeled Evidence Favoritism. Then texts, years of one-sided conversations, me reaching out, them responding in single syllables or not at all. Can you come to my thesis defense? Busy that day, good luck though. Followed by a Facebook album titled Vanessa's Housewarming Party. The date stamp matched my thesis defense. I screenshot everything, organized it by date, by category, by level of cruelty. Maya helped me create a timeline, a visual representation of 3 years of neglect and favoritism. On one side, my achievements and their responses. On the other, Vanessa's milestones and their celebrations. The contrast was damning. Professor Kim agreed to write a statement. He de-witnessed the graduation dinner. I'll testify if needed, he said, what they did W. As unconscionable. My roommate's mother, the one who'd filmed the toasts, sent me the video. 2 full minutes of footage. My parents sitting in uncomfortable silence during Professor Kim's speech, then standing, walking out. The audio caught Dad's words clearly, she's the real success. I watched it once, then never again. But I saved it to 3 different drives. Rachel suggested documenting the financial impact, not just the stolen money, but the consequences. I pulled my credit report. There it was, the laptop purchase, $2,200 at 22% interest, 18 months of payments, $647 in interest alone. If I'd had access to my own money, I wouldn't have paid a cent in interest. I documented everything, the extra shifts I'd worked, the spring breaks I'd missed, the space heater I couldn't afford, the winter coat held together with safety pins while Vanessa posted photos from Aspen. The therapy bills started next, because Maya was right. I needed to talk to someone professional, someone who could document the emotional damage. Dr. Chen, no relation, listened to my story in her office overlooking the Charles River. Complex trauma from familial financial abuse, she said, making notes. Exacerbated by long-term emotional neglect and favoritism. She gave me vocabulary for what I'd experienced: gaslighting, scapegoating, golden child syndrome. Your parents created a family dynamic where your worth was systematically diminished while your sister's was elevated. They didn't just prefer her. They structured their financial and emotional resources to ensure she succeeded at your expense. Can you write that down? I asked. For court. For court. She nodded. I can provide expert testimony if needed. Document the psychological impact, the lasting harm. By the third week, I had a binder, 47 pages, color-coded tabs. Section 1, Financial Evidence Bank Statements, Transfers, Calculations. Section 2, Communication Records, Emails, Texts, Social Media. Section 3, Witness Statements, Professor Kim, Maya's parents, classmates from the dinner. Section 4, Comparative Timeline, my achievements versus their responses, Vanessa's achievements versus their responses. Section 5, Damages Documentation, Credit Report, Therapy Bills, Lost Opportunities. Section 6, Video Evidence, the graduation dinner, the empty chairs, the walkout. Rachel reviewed it in her office, flipped through every page in silence. This is prosecutorial quality work, she said finally. With this documentation, we don't just have a case, we have a slam dunk. What happens now? Now we wait for their response to the demand letter. They have 30 days. If they refuse or ignore it, we file the lawsuit. And if they try to contact me directly? You don't respond, everything goes through me, no exceptions. My phone buzzed, speak of the devil. A text from Dad, we need to talk, call me. I showed Rachel. Don't respond, she said immediately. Forward it to me, I'll add it to evidence. What are they going to say? Probably that you're being dramatic, that this is a misunderstanding, that you're hurting the family. Rachel's expression hardened. Classic abuser playbook. Deny, minimize, shift blame. I'm ready for it. Good, because it's going to get worse before it gets better. They're going to try guilt, then anger, then maybe even threats. She looked at me seriously. Can you handle that? I thought about the empty chairs, the navy dress, the $23 on the table. I've already handled worse, I said. I've handled being invisible. This is just being heard. Rachel smiled. Then let's make sure everyone hears you. The response to Rachel's demand letter came 3 weeks later. Not from my parents, from their attorney. They deny all wrongdoing, Rachel read over the phone. They claim the joint account funds were used at their discretion for family purposes. They're offering $5,000 as a goodwill gesture. $5,000 out of $127,000. That's insulting, I said. That's what I thought too. Rachel paused. We file the lawsuit, but Elliot, there's something else, an opportunity. What kind of opportunity? Vanessa's real estate firm is hosting their annual awards gala in 3 weeks. Your parents are on the guest list. So is Vanessa. She's receiving an award. My stomach tightened. How do you know that? Public event, press releases, LinkedIn. Rachel's tone shifted. If you wanted to make a statement, a public one, this would be the venue. A public statement at Vanessa's celebration. The symmetry was perfect. How many people? I asked. Guest list shows 200 confirmed, corporate executives, real estate investors, local business press. It's a big deal for her firm. 200 witnesses. What would I even say? The truth, with evidence, in front of everyone who thinks your family is perfect. Rachel was careful. But Elliot, this is risky. Public confrontation could backfire, could make you look vindictive. Or it could make them look exactly like what they are. Silence on the other end. If you do this, Rachel said finally, we do it right, prepared, documented, every word planned. I want to do it. You're sure? I thought about the empty chairs, the $23, the navy dress I'd worn while they celebrated Vanessa with my money. I'm sure. The next 3 weeks were preparation. Rachel and I drafted a speech, 4 minutes, no longer, every accusation backed by evidence, every claim supported by documentation. Maya helped me practice, over and over in my apartment, timing each section, perfecting the delivery. "Remember to breathe," she said, "and look at them, don't look away." I bought a ticket to the gala, $500 I didn't have. Maya loaned it to me. "Consider it an investment," she said. I had the evidence printed professionally. Color copies, spiral bound, key sections highlighted, 40 copies made, enough for every major player in that room. The navy dress came out of my closet again, dry cleaned, pressed, ready. Professor Kim agreed to attend as my guest. Moral support, he said, and witness. 3 days before the gala, Mom texted. "Haven't heard from you in a while, everything okay?" I didn't respond. 2 days before, Dad called. I let it go to voicemail. "Elliot, your mother and I are concerned. We got some strange letter from a lawyer. This is ridiculous. Call us so we can clear this up like adults." I saved the voicemail, sent it to Rachel. "Evidence of intimidation," she said. "Perfect." The night before the gala, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed rehearsing the speech, imagining their faces, the moment everyone would know. Maya texted at midnight, "You've got this, I believe in you." I texted back, "See you tomorrow." Tomorrow, the day I stopped being invisible. The morning of the gala, I woke up at 6 a.m. with my heart racing. This was really happening. I made coffee, tried to eat toast, managed 3 bites before giving up. Maya arrived at noon with lunch. "You need to eat something real." "I'm not hungry." "Eat anyway, you're going to need your strength." I forced down half a sandwich, drank water, tried to calm the shaking in my hands. My phone buzzed, Mom again. "Excited for Vanessa's big night. The whole family will be there. Wish you could come." They didn't know I'd bought a ticket, didn't know I'd be in that room. The irony was perfect. I showed Maya the text. "Unbelievable," she muttered. "They really think they've gotten away with it." Not for much longer. At 3 p.m. I started getting ready. Shower, hair, makeup. The navy dress slipped on like armor. Maya watched me from the doorway. "You look powerful." "I feel terrified." "Good, channel that." Professor Kim texted at 4. "On my way, meet you at the venue." Rachel called at 4:30. "Last chance to back out. No judgment if you do." "I'm not backing out." "Then remember the plan. 4 minutes. Show the evidence. Don't engage if they try to argue. Say your piece and walk out." "I remember." "Elliot," Rachel's voice softened. "What you're doing takes courage, real courage." I looked at myself in the mirror. Navy dress, evidence folder on my bed, 3 years of silence about to end. "It's not courage," I said. "It's survival." Maya drove me to the Boston Harbor Hotel. We arrived at 6. The gala started at 6:30. The ballroom was already filling. Crystal chandeliers, harbor view through floor-to-ceiling windows, round tables with white linens, a stage at the front with microphone and projection screen. I'd paid the AV technician $200. He'd agreed to let me use the system during the cocktail hour, before official programming started. 10-minute window, he'd said. After that, hotel management takes over. 10 minutes was all I needed. Maya and I found seats at a table near the back. Professor Kim joined us. We sat in silence, watching the room fill. 6:15, I spotted them. Mom in a silver dress, Dad in a dark suit, both smiling, shaking hands with other guests. Vanessa appeared moments later. Red dress, perfect hair, glowing with success. They didn't see me. Why would they look toward the back of the room? My heart pounded so hard, I could feel it in my throat. "You okay?" Maya whispered. I nodded, lied. 6:25, the room was nearly full, at least 200 people, maybe more. Corporate executives, business owners, photographers from local magazines, everyone important in Boston real estate. All here to celebrate Vanessa. 6:28, the AV tech caught my eye, nodded. It was time. I stood up, Maya squeezed my hand. Professor Kim gave me an encouraging nod. The evidence folder felt heavy in my hands. I walked toward the stage. My heels clicked against marble floor. A few people glanced at me, most kept talking, laughing, drinking champagne. They had no idea what was about to happen. I climbed the steps to the stage, approached the microphone, tapped it twice. The sound echoed through the ballroom. Conversations stopped, heads turned. 200 faces looked at me, including my parents. I see the exact moment Mom recognizes me. Her champagne glass freezes halfway to her lips. Dad's smile vanishes. Vanessa hasn't noticed yet. She's laughing with colleagues at table 7. I lean into the microphone. Good evening, my name is Elliot Chen. The room goes completely silent. I'm Vanessa's sister, the one who graduated from MIT 3 weeks ago. Vanessa's head snaps up, her face drains of color. I'm here tonight because my parents are here, because Vanessa is here, because this room is full of people who think my family is successful and generous and worthy of celebration. I pull out the first document, hold it up. This is a bank statement from a joint savings account opened when I was 16 for college expenses, my college expenses. Tap the microphone again. The AV tech displays the statement on the massive screen behind me. 200 people can now see every line, every transfer, every theft. Over 3 years, $127,400 was transferred from this account. My account, to Vanessa. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Mom stands up. Elliot, this is not the place. Sit down, my voice doesn't shake. You had your turn, 3 years of turns, this is mine. She sits. I pull out the next document. This transfer, $80,000, for Vanessa's condo down payment, the one she posts about on Instagram, the one everyone admires. I look directly at Vanessa. You told everyone you saved for it. You didn't save a cent, I paid for it. Vanessa's colleagues at her table exchange glances. Whispers start. This one, $22,000, your car loan payoff. I flip to another page. This one, $25,000, your wedding fund, you're not even engaged but there's a fund, with my inheritance money. The screen changes, shows a split image. On one side, Vanessa's Instagram photos, designer bags, vacations, the Harborview condo. On the other side, my loan statements, credit card debt, the laptop purchase at 22% interest. While you were in Napa Valley, I was eating granola bars for spring break. While you were furniture shopping, I was working double shifts to cover rent my parents said they couldn't help with. Except they could help. They just chose you. Dad stands now, his face is red. This is slander, you're making a scene. I'm making a point. I hold up another document. 3 weeks ago, you walked out of my graduation dinner at MIT Faculty Club in front of 11 witnesses. You said, and I quote, your sister closed her first acquisition, she's the real success. The screen changes again. Video footage, my graduation dinner, empty chairs, the audio plays clearly through the speakers. Dad's voice, she's the real success. The ballroom erupts in whispers, phones come out, people are recording now. Mom tries again, honey, you're misunderstanding. I have 18 months of bank statements, emails you ignored, texts you never answered, a spreadsheet documenting every dollar you stole and every achievement you dismissed. My voice rises. I worked 3 jobs. I graduated from MIT with a 3.9 GPA. I did it without you, despite you, and you left my graduation dinner to celebrate her, with my money. Vanessa is crying now. Her boss, sitting beside her, looks horrified. I pull out the final document. This is a demand letter from my attorney. Rachel Morrison and Associates. She specializes in financial abuse and family fraud. She reviewed everything. And she confirmed what I already knew. What you did isn't just morally wrong, it's legally actionable. I look at my parents, both frozen, both pale. You chose her. Every day for 3 years, you chose her, with my inheritance, my birthday money, my future. My voice breaks, but I push through. You told me to understand, to not be sensitive, to manage my finances better, while you were stealing from me to fund her life. The room is dead silent now. I don't want your apology, I don't want your excuses. I want everyone in this room to know exactly who you are, who she is, what success really cost. I step back from the microphone, look at the crowd. The real success, I survived you, I graduated despite you, and now everyone knows the truth. I drop the evidence folder on the stage. 40 bound copies spill out. There's documentation for anyone who wants it. Bank statements, emails, The video from my graduation dinner, all of it. Chaos erupts. People rush toward the stage. Photographers, cameras flash. Vanessa's colleagues surround her, demanding explanations. Mom reaches for me. Elliot, please. I step back, don't touch me. Professor Kim appears at my side, Mai on the other. They create a our rear. Vanessa's boss approaches our parents. Mr. and Mrs. Chen, I think we need to have a conversation. In private. Dad tries to speak, no words come out. Someone from the crowd shouts, is this true? Did you really steal from your daughter? Another voice, that video, I saw that video online. The hotel security approaches, not to remove me, to contain the situation. I walk down the stage steps, people move aside, some look at me with pity, others with respect. Several hand me business cards. If you need additional legal support. My firm handles cases like this. I'm a reporter, I'd like to interview you. Maya guides me toward the exit. Professor Kim shields me from the crowd. Behind us, I hear my mother's voice, pleading, this is a family matter. And someone else responds, not anymore, now it's public record. We reach the door, the harbor breeze hits my face. I stop, turn back one last time. My parents stand in the middle of the ballroom, surrounded by people with phones out, recording, posting, sharing. Vanessa sits at her table, head in her hands, career crumbling around her. The award she was supposed to receive sits forgotten on the stage. And me. I'm walking out, in the same navy dress they saw me wear at that graduation dinner. But this time I'm not alone, and I'm not invisible. This time, everyone sees me. That night, my phone exploded. Text messages, voicemails, emails, hundreds of them. Maya turned off my phone. You don't need to see this yet. But she showed me the important ones. Aunt Susan, I believe you, always have. Cousin Rachel, you're so brave. Professor Kim, proud of you. And then the others. Dad's business partner, what you did was unforgivable. Mom's sister, you've destroyed this family. Vanessa sent 12 texts, all variations of how could you. I didn't respond to any of them. By morning, the video had been posted by 17 different people. Combined views reached 840,000. Local news picked it up. MIT graduate exposes family fraud at sister's award ceremony. Rachel called at 9 a.m. We're filing the lawsuit today. Strike while the iron's hot. I slept for 14 hours after that. Maya stayed on my couch, guarding me. When I woke up, I felt lighter than I had in 3 years. Rachel filed the civil lawsuit on Monday morning. Chen v. Chen, case number 2023-4471. My parents had 5 days to respond. Their attorney sent a motion to dismiss. Frivolous claims from a disgruntled daughter. Rachel destroyed it in her response, attached 47 pages of evidence, bank statements, emails, the video from the gala. The judge denied their motion within a week. This case has merit, the ruling stated. Discovery will proceed. Discovery meant depositions, interrogatories, document requests. My parents had to turn over every financial record from the past 5 years. They tried to fight it. Their attorney filed motion after motion, every single one denied. They're stalling, Rachel explained, hoping you'll give up, they won't win. 3 months in, we got the deposition dates. Mom first, then Dad, then Vanessa. I attended all 3. Mom's deposition lasted 6 hours. She sat across the conference table, her attorney beside her, and tried to explain the transfers. We were helping Vanessa establish herself, she said. The account was joint. We had every right. Did you inform Elliot of these transfers? Rachel asked. Silence. Ms. Chen, did you tell your daughter you were taking her money? It wasn't her money, it was family money. Money she deposited from her grandmother's inheritance, from her birthday gifts, from her summer employment. Correct. More silence. Answer the question, please. Yes, but... No further questions. Dad's deposition was worse. He tried to justify it, claimed I was financially irresponsible. Said they were protecting me by giving the money to Vanessa. Protecting her by stealing from her. Rachel's voice was ice. We didn't steal, we reallocated family resources. To one daughter, exclusively, without the other daughter's knowledge or consent. Dad had no response to that. Vanessa's deposition was the shortest. She cried through most of it, claimed she didn't know where the money came from. My parents said they were helping me. I didn't ask questions. Did you know Elliot was struggling financially, working 3 jobs, taking out loans? I knew she was busy. Did you offer to help her? Silence. Did you ever think it was strange that your parents could afford to give you $80,000 for a condo while your sister was eating ramen? Vanessa broke down completely. I didn't think about it. That answer told me everything. By month 6, my parents' attorney contacted Rachel. They'd like to discuss settlement. We met in Rachel's conference room. My parents, their attorney, Rachel, me. I hadn't seen them since the gala. Mom looked older, thin. Dad wouldn't meet my eyes. Their attorney spoke first. My clients are willing to offer $25,000 to resolve this matter. Rachel didn't blink. We're asking for $127,400, plus legal fees, plus emotional distress damages. That's unreasonable. That's what they stole. The account was joint. With a minor, held in trust for educational purposes. Your clients breached their fiduciary duty. We have expert testimony prepared. We have documentation. We have witnesses. Rachel leaned forward. We have video of them abandoning their daughter at her graduation dinner after spending her money on someone else. Do you really want this to go to trial? Do you want a jury to see that? The attorney looked at my parents. Dad's jaw was tight. Mom was crying silently. $50,000, the attorney said. Final offer. 75 plus legal fees, plus a written apology, plus a 5-year no-contact order. My parents whispered to their attorney, urgent, desperate. 65, no apology, 2-year no contact. Rachel looked at me. I nodded. Deal, she said. Draft the agreement. The settlement was finalized 2 weeks later. $65,000, plus $8,400 in legal fees, plus a 2-year restraining order. No apology. I didn't need one anymore. The check arrived in the mail. I deposited it, paid off every loan, every credit card, every cent of debt I'd accumulated while they stole from me. Then I sent Vanessa an invoice for the condo down payment, the car loan, all of it. Your parents paid me back, I wrote. Now you owe them, not me. Work it out yourselves. She never responded. But I heard through Aunt Susan what happened next. The family split down the middle. Aunt Susan, Uncle James, Cousin Rachel, Cousin Tom, all on my side. They'd witnessed years of favoritism. Finally had permission to say something. Mom's sister, Dad's brother, a few cousins, they sided with my parents, called me vindictive, cruel, ungrateful. I blocked every single one. Thanksgiving came, first one without them. I went to Aunt Susan's house. 17 people showed up, all there to support me. We should have said something sooner, Aunt Susan told me. We saw what they were doing, we just didn't know how to help. You're helping now, I said. That's what matters. Christmas was similar, new traditions, new family structure, better actually. Meanwhile, my parents' lives fell apart in spectacular fashion. Dad's consulting firm lost 4 major clients. The video had made its rounds in his professional circles. Can't trust a man who steals from his own daughter, one former client posted publicly. Mom was asked to resign from her charity board. Optics, they called it. Vanessa's real estate firm let her go. Restructuring, they claimed, but everyone knew. Her boss had been at that gala, had heard everything. She moved to Denver within 3 months. Fresh start where nobody knew her story. Except the internet doesn't forget, the video followed her. Future employers Googled her name, found everything. My parents tried to rebuild their reputation. Couldn't. The evidence was public, the judgment was public, their theft was public. They listed their house for sale, downsized to a condo, used the difference to pay me back. Justice wasn't pretty, but it was thorough. And me, I started sleeping through the night. It's been 3 years now, since that graduation dinner. 3 years since I discovered the theft, since the gala, since I stopped being invisible. My life looks nothing like it did then. I'm sitting in my apartment right now, 1 bedroom in Cambridge, hardwood floors, big windows, a A kitchen where I cook real food, not ramen, not granola bars, real meals. I can afford it because I'm not drowning anymore. My credit score went from 580 to 712. Took 18 months of consistent payments and financial discipline, but I did it. The debt is gone, all of it. $34,000 in loans paid off. The credit card with 22% interest paid off. The money I owed Maya paid back with interest. I have savings now, actual savings, 6 months of expenses in an emergency fund, a retirement account that I contribute to every paycheck. For the first time in my adult life, I'm not surviving, I'm thriving. Work-wise, I'm a senior software engineer at a tech startup in Boston. They hired me 8 months after graduation, promoted me twice since then. I make $142,000 a year. I bought a car, used but reliable, no more taking 3 buses to get anywhere. I take vacations now, real ones. Last summer, I went to Iceland with Maya. We hiked glaciers, saw the northern lights. I paid for the whole trip without checking my bank account anxiously every day. The MIT diploma hangs on my living room wall. Right next to it, a photo from Aunt Susan's Thanksgiving. 17 people who chose me. Who sh? Owed up who stayed. No photos of my parents, no photos of Vanessa. Some people think that's sad, I think it's healthy. Therapy helped, I still go twice a month. Dr. Chen, no relation, helped me understand that what happened wasn't about me, wasn't my fault, wasn't something I could have prevented. You were a child in a dysfunctional system, she'd said. You survived it, that's the achievement. I date now, casually, nothing serious yet, but I'm learning what healthy relationships look like, what it means when someone shows up, follows through, chooses you consistently. It's strange, foreign, but good. Maya and I are closer than ever. She's in medical school now, we study together at coffee shops, complain about our workloads, plan trips. She's the sister I should have had. Professor Kim still emails occasionally, checking in, sending job opportunities. He wrote me a recommendation that helped land the promotion. Proud of you, he wrote, not just for the degree, for everything after. As for my parents and Vanessa, we haven't spoken in 3 years. The restraining order expired last year. They didn't try to contact me, I didn't try to contact them. I hear things through Aunt Susan. Dad's business never recovered. Mom works part-time now. They got divorced 18 months after the settlement. Too much resentment, too much blame. Vanessa is still in Denver, still in real estate but at a smaller firm, still single, still trying to escape the video that defined her. Part of me feels bad for them, small part, shrinking every day. Mostly I feel nothing, they're strangers who share my DNA, that's all. People ask if I regret the gala, if I wish I handled it privately. No. Because private meant they'd have denied everything, meant I'd have stayed invisible, meant they'd have controlled the narrative. Public meant witnesses, meant evidence, meant accountability. I don't regret it for a second. Someone recently asked if I'd reconcile if they apologized. The answer is no. Because an apology doesn't undo 3 years of theft, doesn't erase the empty chairs at my graduation dinner, doesn't rebuild trust that was never actually there. Some things can't be fixed, some relationships aren't worth saving. I'm okay with that now. 3 years ago, I was drowning, working 3 jobs, eating ramen, wondering why I was never enough. Now I know the truth, I was always enough, they just couldn't see it. Their loss, not mine. I look around my apartment, at the life I built, the career I earned, the family I chose, the peace I fought for. This is what real success looks like. Not a condo bought with stolen money. Not a car paid for with someone else's inheritance. Not an award ceremony funded by betrayal. This, right here, a life built on my own terms, with my own money, surrounded by people who actually love me. My parents wanted me to disappear, to stay small, to accept less. Instead, I graduated from MIT, exposed their theft, won a lawsuit, and built a life they'll never touch. That's the real victory. Not the money I got back, not the legal judgment, not even the viral video. The victory is this: I'm free, and I'm finally happy. If you're living with a family that makes you feel invisible, that steals your achievements, that chooses someone else over you every single time. Listen to me. You're not crazy, you're not dramatic, you're not overreacting. Document everything. Tell someone who believes you, get legal help if you need it. And know this, you don't owe them loyalty just because they're family. You don't owe them silence. You don't owe them your future. You deserve to be seen, to be celebrated, to be chosen. And if they won't choose you, choose yourself. It's not easy, it's not pretty, but it's worth it. 3 years later, I can promise you that. This is Achiever Betrayed, where we tell the stories of those who survived, who fought back, and who rebuilt. Thank you for listening to mine.